everyone, I'm Patrice.
Hi, and I'm Anita Bloom.
And Anita and I just finished videotaping a conversation that we had where we share our experiences of being audience members on the world's best TV show.
So here it is, and we hope you enjoy it.
Yes, please enjoy. Anita and I, we were talking and sort of refreshing back our experience of the final and my experience of almost the entire show. And we sort of wanted to share because we had been reading so many misunderstandings and misconceptions about really what happened and what aired versus what actually was taped in front of us.
Because
and
it was quite different.
Quite different.
The way they edited the version that was aired presented things in quite a different light than how we experienced it in the studio audience.
Exactly. So first, I just wanted to say that we are so happy that Dimash had an opportunity to come here. And we're very happy with, the way that he comported himself with so much dignity, so much honor.
Yeah.
The level of professionalism that he brought to the stage.
And his heart.
To the show and his heart were just, it was electric. Every performance that I saw, before he even got on stage, as he was walking, there was a buzz. Everyone could feel when they got the first glimpse of him, they could feel that energy. And people who knew of him, but most who didn't, were, oh my gosh, who is this? And what's he gonna do? And so,
well, of course, the minute he started singing, they who is this guy?
Who is this guy? Yes.
Why haven't I heard of him?
So he was just loved by the audience, and I went to the tapings, and I saw I was in there with different audiences, and so I had an opportunity to see the level of accolades and applause and standing ovations and love that they garnished every performer. And there was a distinct, very, very, very different reaction when Dimash started singing, because the audience was absolutely amazed at his brilliance. First of all, he did full performances, as you witnessed in his final performance.
Yes.
They were full-out performances. Every performer performed full-out performances. They were then cut and edited for the airing. What I wanted to state was really the disparity in which, especially the last performance, the other performances were chopped. They were edited. Dimash, as well as all of the other performers, sang entire full performances, and so they were cut, including during All By Myself. He did sing part of a Kazakh song. I went back and was looking at all my Kazakh songs that I had collected while I was in Kazakhstan, and went back to those and was going through and then searching for more Kazakh songs, and I finally found what I think was the one, which was Einem Kaz. I think that's how you pronounce it, but it is a beautiful song, and he sang part of that which led right into All By Myself, and that was cut and edited. Let's focus in on this final championship, the championship performance, the final performance of Dimash. And yeah, you can express.
Yeah, wow. Again, mainly I would say that what happened in the studio and what was presented on air were very different. Things were cut out, important things were cut out. Extremely important things. I mean, where Dimash actually said he had something to state to the judges and the audience.
And actually, that was the very first thing that happened. Just to go back, the order in which things happened was that the children sang.
Yes.
And then it was Dimash's turn. He basically came on and he stated the very first thing he did was state that he
this was the announcement, what he said that he had to say. Yeah.
That he was going to be asked, he was asked to compete with these children now, and that he could not do that because in his culture, it's about elevating children and paving the way for them and encouraging them. And adults don't compete with children. And that he was there to elevate them, and he wanted them to be moved on and for them to allow him to step aside.
And he did make a statement later in his comments or in his announcement as a response to the judges. He said, very sincerely and very humbly, he said, "This is not about my ego."
Right. I think, it was when RuPaul said, "You knew what you were getting into."
Yes.
And honestly, Dimash then spoke, and we as audience, we were just like, wow, when what he stated was, which of course they conveniently edited, was the very first, "Please do not think that is my ego. It isn't." The very first question that I asked when I was invited to this show, the very first question that I asked before signing on was, "Will there be children in the competition? I do not compete with children."
I mean, that's a huge
And that was the statement. And you know
statement.
what? The USA judges just breezed by it. Didn't say, "What? Really?" Nothing. Of course.
And the show didn't include that.
And the show did not include that. But the audience, the rest of us, were like,
we
"What?"
heard it.
We heard it. It was very clear. He made it very clear that that was a question that had been asked prior to signing on. And he signed on, obviously, based on what he stated, that,
And what their answer was, based on what their answer was.
Basically, he stated, the only thing he said was, "I asked that question." He didn't say, "They told me yes or no." He simply stated, "I asked that question." So that tells you, contractually, he may not have been able to say, they lied to me. But basically, when he stated, "I did ask that question," it was the very first question I asked prior to signing on. The audience and the judges, knew what he was saying. But the show conveniently left that out. Here, I understand that they may be covering themselves, but
I think.
but I think that is absolutely wrong. It was like throwing this artist under the bus and painting him to be something that he was not, that the audience knew he was not. So why was it that when he asked that question, he was given an answer then that from what the audience got, that then he signed on because he was given a specific answer.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, in the middle of the show, they're going to switch it. And he wasn't going to be bought. That's exactly what the audience felt, because the audience were with him and not with the judges. And in fact, when we left that night, how many people stopped us? So many people stopped and were talking.
Total strangers came up to us and were very upset by the whole what happened with how the judges responded
because there were like 8 of us who went there and sat together that were fans of Dimash, and then the rest really were not. But they heard us talking as we were walking out, and all of them. I don't remember hearing one person saying he shouldn't have done that. That was horrible, unprofessional. Right? It was just the opposite. It was, can you believe the unprofessional behavior of the judges?
Yeah.
The lack of respect to another culture that they invited to the show. This man stood up and stated, "I asked that question." And they basically ignored what he said and proceeded to continue to berate him even more. That the audience was flabbergasted. And then another thing was that
and you know what, the other thing that was so beautiful is I never felt like Dimash was engaging in any kind of defensiveness
Never.
or any or angry, although I'm sure there were a lot of emotions.
He was
yeah, there was a
emotional. He had
lot of
some anger.
emotions coming up.
Yeah.
But he never expressed anything that was disrespectful to the judges. He was very humble. He was very sincere in everything he said, but he knew he had the courage to stand up for what he believed and what he felt was right.
And he did it.
That must be respected. That's how I feel.
He did it in such an honorable way.
Prior to the airing, I mean, I remember expressing, you know, if they show what happened in its entirety and what the judges said, it's really only going to make the judges and the show look bad.
And there are some people maybe who don't know Dimash, and who weren't there, and who question whether he was afraid of children, which is a ridiculous assumption. This is a man who has competed again with world-class performers. How is he going to be afraid? You know, children. That no, that's absurd. And so, you know, the thing is that here's a person who really, really, even after all that, proceeded to sing, because he sang after, not how they edited it. He stated what he stated, and then he let them say their piece, and they were disrespectful, and he maintained his honor, his integrity, his grace. He made his people proud. They did ask the judge what she thought. She did step up and say, this is our culture. I understand, this is our culture. She did do that. But then, you know, they proceeded, the U.S. judges proceeded to continue to, you know, basically use this as a place for drama, rather than understanding. And I understand it's a TV show, but you invited people from different countries and different cultures. This isn't the USA best that we are showing to the world. This was the world's best. That means that you are bringing people from different cultures, different countries, and we must learn to respect that. We do not live in a vacuum.
Just because it's the way we do things doesn't mean it's the only way or the right way.
Or the right way.
So
and this man, before signing on, did his due diligence, meaning he asked the questions that he needed to ask in order to sign on. So, based on what we as audience members heard, so he proceeded to give an electric performance. The audience was mesmerized. We were all, you know, on our feet the entire time, clapping, screaming. They, you know, I'm shocked that they, in none of their shows did they really show audience reaction. You know, they really took the audience completely out of it, which is absurd. You know, I don't really quite get that. It became sort of a very different show, because the audience is part. Yes. It is also a character in these shows.
Yes.
The performers are performing for the judges, but the audience is also there, and they're feeding off of the audience.
Yeah, they really are missing when you see the taping.
It was edited. Because it was a very different experience to be there and experience it live and see the depth of love and admiration and awe, really, that the audience had for Dimash's talent, and then in this final performance for the human being that he is. And yes, and so that was it. I think there was another thing where, you know, I saw a video of, I think maybe a judge saying that they did not cut performances, and that's just not true. They did. They cut performances.
You could feel it. It was just felt.
Well, not just the timing. It was an hour and a minute and 5 seconds, right. I think, that they showed in the last performance of his.
I mean, but you could literally see it. I mean, it's
you could see the chop. You could see the chop. The wording didn't match. You know, I mean, they did an okay job in I think the SOS, but no, every performer performed a full performance, and then they edited it.
And that last performance you were talking about after he made this announcement was really spectacular.
It really was.
Partly, you know, the context within which he was performing,
Yes.
because there was such a sense, such an emotionality in everybody. There was so much going on emotionally in the
Because
audience,
we had just heard what we
in
heard.
Dimash and
Yes.
the judges. I mean, and then he starts to sing. I mean, and there was such a sense of just putting it all out there,
Yeah.
like 150%.
Yes.
And there was something so powerful
Yeah.
and beautiful about it. There was just such an electricity in the air,
Yeah.
and emotions.
Yes.
Everyone's people were crying, but it wasn't just the context. It was also his performance was just extraordinary.
Well, I think
So-
everything, I think basically at that point, he's such a professional that he just was going to go there and give
Give it all.
everything. He wasn't going to, he's such a professional, and he has been through so much in his own life, career-wise, in competitions and all of that. He knows, he's such a professional, he knows how to hone all of this energy in and put it into the performance, and that is exactly what he did.
Yeah,
To the
it's
point
beautiful.
that people were just in complete amazement and awe that here was a performer who just went through what he went through and delivered 200%. I mean, he just was unbelievable. So there it is. That is basically, or take the fact is that I congratulate Lydian, and I congratulate all the performers
All
that
the
were there.
performers, yes.
And I am so sorry that the general TV audience did not have an opportunity to experience your performances to the fullest.
Yes.
Because some of you were really wonderful. Many of you, if not all of you had something to offer. And many of you were just really wonderful, and some of you were
Yes.
brilliant.
And it was a disservice that your performances got cut in the way that they did, because you all gave so much
So much.
when you performed, and
Yes. He was going to win. I think the judges knew that. I think maybe that's what their upset was, because, you know, they already had this sense, deep sense, possibly, and so that upset them. But, you know, maybe it's an opportunity for here to understand that not everyone in the world is going to be bought. And that's a great thing to find out about human nature. That not
Well, we need
everything
that.
is for sale.
we really need that now,
Yeah,
more than ever.
really more than ever. And so I am so humbled and so proud and honored to be a fan of Dimash, a dear of Dimash.
Yes, and I also feel gratitude to be a witness of that, because although it was difficult
Yes.
to watch, to be lifted up by
Grace.
witnessing his grace and his honor, his integrity,
Yes.
all of those things, and handling this situation, I just felt really grateful.
Maybe we've gone on too long. I hope this hasn't bored you to tears, but we felt it important to just state our experience and also how proud we are, really, of all contestants. Danelia was wonderful. She was loved by the judges as well. And again, we congratulate Lydian, because he, as Dimash said, it is about elevating the children. This is true. It is about elevating the children. So it is not about, this is not a video about putting them down or saying that
Or
he
any
didn't
performer
deserve
down.
to win, or any performer down. We just want to state what we experienced, what we saw. I, as a person who saw, you know, many of, if not most of the performances, that, you know, it was a totally very different situation when Dimash came on stage and when he performed, and the caliber was distinctly different. So here we go. That is what we're stating. We are so very happy to have had this opportunity to do this, because we have been sharing this, and then we're like, you know what, we need to just talk about this and get it out there, because we're seeing how people have misinterpretations and misconceptions based on very misleading tapes and
and the airing of the
shows,
because they didn't include certain things that happened.
That
they rearranged
the order
of things.
They didn't. Let's just say that
things are not always as they
appear to be.
That's really it.
I hope that we have in some way clarified some things. I hope that we haven't caused any more confusion.
Yeah.
Just want to clarify how it happened, what was stated, and just that we were honored to witness absolute professionalism, absolute grace, honor, integrity, and maturity. The one adult, the one professional, was on stage. We are grateful for James Corden. He had a very difficult job, and he did show compassion and empathy,
yes.
And as you know, he should. That's his job, and gets paid a lot of money to do that. So we're happy that he did not
join the judges
in their atrocious behavior, which really, as everybody stated when they stepped out, it was embarrassing to watch, and we were all embarrassed for them and by them, and we were all uplifted by Dimash, by his integrity, by his honor, by his grace, by his professionalism, by his maturity,
yes.
by his humanity, and his absolute talent, which is unparalleled. So there you have it.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Thanks. And thank you to Oliver,
who's passed out.
I hope you had a good time too. Thank you so much.
Okay.